So now moving on to our Ant-Man review. We're going to start off with non-spoiler review. We won't give anything away. Then we're going to move on to full spoilers, but we'll warn you ahead of time in case you haven't seen Ant-Man. Alright, so I think all four of us had a chance to see this. I'll go first. I was entertained. I got kind of what I was looking for. The 3D looked great. Decent enough story. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just, it feels like Iron Man light. You know what I mean? To me, it was like, kind of real cookie cutter story, at least in terms of what we've seen. If this was 2008, 2009, in like the kind of the Marvel Phase 1, it fits great there. In the post, like, after watching Winter Soldier and kind of Age of Ultron, everything else, to get satiated, I gotta get a little bit more.
We've got refined tastes now.
But it's not bad. So you can move it. You could just kind of like, okay, this is gonna happen. Oh, that's gonna happen. Yeah. This is gonna happen. What'd you guys think?
I don't know. Like, I wasn't excited about this right from the beginning. Like when you told me about it, it was like Ant-Man, and like right away, it's. I don't know, like it's an ant. Like it doesn't tickle my fancy. It doesn't do anything to get me, to get me excited right away. And then like I started watching some of the trailers, and you're right, like it just seems so formulaic. You know what I mean? It's like, here's a suit. I come across the suit. I've got somebody, bestowing something down that used to use it before. Like almost like, like Mask of Zorro. Here's my mask, and take it and go. You know what I mean?
That mixed with the Rocketeer and
yeah, exactly. And you've got so much of that just it's. I've seen this all before. I didn't. Nothing surprised me. So you're right. Like if there's so many movies that are like that. Like if I'm a new fan and I'm coming on and like I'm 12 years old and I haven't seen any other movie. Like I lived like I don't know, like a Mormon or something like that.
Deliverance.
Sorry to Mormons.
We just lost all our Mormons.
Fuck these guys. Yeah. But it's like, if I was very sheltered to begin with and hadn't seen anything else, yeah, it might have been entertaining. But to me, it was formulaic. Everything was not a surprise. It's not going to resonate. Like I immediately, like I could have immediately forgotten this. Like if it wasn't purposely trying to think that, knowing that we had this review that we were going to talk about, I had to make notes. Just to remember certain things about it in order to talk about it.
Yeah,
so was not excited to see this. I came in with low expectations. This for me could have easily been a television show, right? Like a Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of episode even, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of got like they were trying to do like maybe a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like, oh, this is gonna be fun for this movie is basically like if you have a child but you're sharing joint custody with your baby moms and she hates your guts and she thinks you want to take your kid out to the movie and you're like, okay, what's a safe movie that I can watch that she's gonna like? And it's like there's no Lego Batman out or there's no Lego movie. You're gonna see Honey, I Shrunk. You know what I mean? You're gonna see Ant-Man. That's what it is.
For me, it's the same thing. I mean, it visually was interesting, as you said, here and there. But here's the thing: what makes these Marvel movies, these DC movies, these superhero movies so engaging? It's when we were kids, we looked up to them. They were awe-inspiring. Yeah. They were kind of like the demigods that medieval man would worship, and you find a greater sense of self in them.
They were our Hercules.
When someone shrinks to this big and it's like, that I don't find that same awe, that same inspiration, and nor will, even as much as it is for kids, they will also not draw as much, because we were kids too. When we were kids, who would you like better, Thor or Ant-Man? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't find that same adulation, right? So there's that, and you know, there are points in the movie, even the concept aside, the way they even went about it, which we'll talk about afterwards, which were then again just quite lackluster.
Yeah.
If they, oh sorry.
I was just saying it almost feels like you can almost see Marvel and everybody. Well, this has to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. Training montage here, and then you just like put it together like a puzzle block.
Yeah, and they're also saying,
by numbers.
but we also need to have Ant-Man in the Avengers later, so we're going to have a movie just like the first Captain America movie was terrible. I didn't think it was good at all. It was quite bad. I found actually the first Captain America, right? And so I mean, this is kind of like, you know, so they can say, here's Ant-Man. At the end of the day, though, for me, all they had to do was in the next Avengers movie say, hey, that guy shrinks. Yeah. That's all I need. I don't need much. That's pretty much. You know what I mean? I don't need all of this.
The trailer was enough.
Yeah. You know what I mean? One flashback from Hank Pym and his protege. That's all I need for the Avengers. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's got high points. I mean, there's the Yellow Jacket suit looks incredible.
Yeah.
And we'll get into spoilers, but there's some really cool action moments, some pretty unique stuff that we haven't seen that was entertaining.
Yeah.
And there was good. Michael Pena's funny in this.
Yeah.
Real funny guy. Paul Rudd has some good funny scenes in it too.
Yeah.
It's just lacking like a weight. Like a lot of these are supposed to be event films, and this didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
this almost felt like, okay, we'll watch this so that next time we know who he is.
Exactly.
In the next group battle of Civil War or whatever happens, now he has a backstory and excuse to either shrink or
right. But it'll never have that way because it's Ant-Man, and at the end of the day, that's what it's missing. He's not a hero that you look up to in that capacity. That draws your awe and inspires.
Yeah.
And you're just
he almost
intoxicated with their power.
The only thing, and this is complete speculation, of course, but the only thing that I can see is, like, if he's written in there for a specific purpose. Like, there's like, it's, the Tesseract's in a lock thing,
it's
and they,
so annoying.
you know what I mean, and they have to get into it. Like that's the only way I can see it. He is a gimmick.
The only real reason why they would have used Ant-Man, which would be practical, would be Ultron, because he was actually the one who created Ultron.
Yeah.
But it's like, pardon?
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
But it's like now it's like, what do you need him for?
Well, when we get into spoilers, someone remember, we'll bring this up because there are theories as to how it kind of connects to a big universe.
Right.
On the surface, the whole thing is, look, they're not gonna have Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Scarlett Johansson around forever. At some point, the Avengers will be a new group. Introduce him at some point so he can be a part of the Avengers.
Yeah, but why?
Because the original guys aren't going to stick around for movies.
Okay,
As soon as we get out.
But here's the thing: the original Hank Pym, the original Hank Pym is like the Batman to the Justice League, is like Blue Beetle, right? Like, but who really cares a Blue Beetle, right? So Hank Pym. He's got all this technology. He's a respected scientist, right? That's the only reason he's around.
No, but at the end of the day, he turns into Giant Man. And because you're going to need Giant Man for when Thanos comes and he starts messing up everything.
Which will look awesome.
It's still a gimmick, though.
I know, but see, the thing is, that means I don't even need Ant-Man. I just need to say, he's Ant-Man now, and then in the Avengers story, hey, I discovered this new technology. I'm now cool in Giant Man. Now I'm awe-inspiring.
Okay, great. Let's go fight.
Yeah.
You could have even done it in like one of those. You know how Disney used to have these like little shorts, like it's 15 minutes before the movie starts. You could have done that. And it's like, oh, new Ant-Man, blah blah blah. It's like.
It wasn't something. Well, might as well now get into the spoilers. Let's do the spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. So from here on out, full spoiler discussion. If you haven't seen the movie, get out. You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck out of here. Come back and watch us. It'll be in your history. Come back and watch us, and then we'll full spoilers. So from now on, full spoiler. You've been warned. You've been warned. All right. So the Baskin Robbins shit was funny, right? You know? You guys cool treats. Baskin Robbins, man. that one line of
That's fine because at that point it wasn't even a superhero movie. At
Yeah.
that point it was just a generic
It was a comedy.
comedy like
Exactly.
40-year-old version or
It
something
was.
like that.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was Honey I Shrunk the Kids met Bug's Life.
With a little bit of as a Paul Rudd.
Yeah, like that's what it was. Like it was not anything else. You know, like he started. You know, like he numbered the ants, and you know he tried to name the ants, like and all this stuff. Like it just wasn't.
Yeah, they went into weird. They went into weird detail about that.
Yeah.
That all kind of just went.
You know why?
right over my
Because
head,
they
like-
wanted you to care about ants.
Exactly.
But
Like,
yeah.
and at the end of the day, it's not. It's an ant. Like it's not like.
But they had like the classifications of it. Like this does that. That does this. And then
There's
that
electric ant. The amount of. Do you know the amount of electricity those ants generate is negligible.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Infinitesimal.
negligible.
Yeah.
And I understand when you're zoomed in, the ants look fearsome,
Yeah.
but it's really just an ant.
Exactly.
trying
And
to
they
set
did
up a video
so
game.
they did that in Honey I Shrunk the
I know,
Kids. Like
it's
it was done before.
It's really just an ant.
Yeah.
Like there's this one, the one scene at the end where the ants are flying Scott up to flying Ant-Man up to
Yeah.
the helicopter,
Yeah.
and what? There's no wind resistance to the helicopter.
Yeah,
For an ant.
Yeah.
Those propeller blades are whirring,
Yeah.
and you got like a swarm of ants, all of them strong. Just like I know headwind's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm in your slipstream. It's all good. You know, like come on. Are you
Meanwhile,
kidding
the
me?
three geese that just went through.
Yeah. There's all those ants. But this is reality.
Yeah.
Movie done.
Yeah.
It gets away. That's it. That's it. You know.
Foiled again.
I mean, the combat again. They bring it down to that
Insect level,
that
yeah.
insect worm's eye insect level
Yeah.
view. That's fine.
But
But then they
the
mock.
fight in the briefcase was great. I thought that was pretty.
It was
good.
interesting, but then it's like we're talking about when you see Thor again or
Yeah.
Hulk in combat, you are inspired.
Yeah.
When you see these guys fighting, and all of a sudden it zooms out and it's a toy train, Tommy
Yeah.
the train,
Yeah,
coming on the track,
yeah, man.
and then he's like, Yellow Jacket's a cat.
It's
And
funny, it's a laugh.
It's funny.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
doesn't
a
have
joke.
much weight.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. The whole thing is a joke.
Yeah.
The whole thing is
It's
a
a
joke.
joke.
It's very.
It's a joke.
It's all a
It's
joke.
very.
Watch it.
Yes.
Watch a good movie. See it.
Fantastic film. It was too juvenile. It was too juvenile for this universe.
It's not even juvenile.
Yeah.
It's like less than juvenile. It's
Yeah.
like less elementary school and lower kind
Yeah.
of thing, right? Like some of the stuff.
Like
is
Thomas
rough.
said, it was almost like the Thomas
I mean,
Edison was very well placed because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was kind of
it's
sold to
been
us as like a heist movie, and Marvel's been doing a good job of, especially once they got into Phase 2, they were doing such a good job of
Genre movies.
movies,
Yeah.
right? The 70s political thriller of
Yes.
Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah,
The kind of space opera of Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
right? They were doing a good job. This one, they were selling us a heist,
Yeah.
and
Like heist,
we got heist.
Yeah, exactly. Like heist, I think Ocean's
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's.
it was just, there was kind of more. I enjoyed more of the scene in Guardians of the Galaxy than planning to get out of the prison
Yeah.
Yeah.
than I did any of the planning
Yeah.
or heist stuff to go from this, right? And then you just,
Yes.
we'll start from the beginning because it starts off really strong for me anyway. Because I didn't expect them to
It's
go
not a
back.
superhero movie at
No.
that point. It's just 40-year-old virgin or
Yeah.
any other.
No,
comedy
I'm
movie.
talking pre-credits when it's where they did what's the main actor's name? Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
He looked young, like Wall Street days.
Yeah.
Walks
yeah,
in,
yeah.
In the early days
Oh,
of the first
right,
one,
right,
Agent
right.
Carter's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
You got
Creed is
Howard
good.
Stark there,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm like, oh, this is cool. And he's a badass, and he's already kind of
Yeah.
been Ant-Man for a while. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Then once we get into that, we just get into the tropes of find the guy, give him the suit.
Find my successor.
Right, he has a like I keep
plan.
going parallels to the first Iron Man, right? He has the mentor, shows him to straighten out, then obligatory training montage.
Yeah,
right?
but that whole plan was just ludicrous. Like he pays his maid to drop it to him, who drops it to him, who plans the heist, who
just to see if he's worthy to
just
break
the
the
ship that
house.
Jack built or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that.
It's too much,
It was too. It's just go to him and say, I would like to give you the suit.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what it
Well,
does.
it's supposed to be like it's like a test, and it's like follow the leader. You know what I mean?
but
Like,
just too many variables,
And
and the whole thing didn't make sense.
And they didn't really go. I mean, they kind of touched on it, but the whole reason why Hank Pym doesn't don the suit himself is, because it changes you every time you wear it. Like, the Pym particles kind of fuck you up.
Yeah.
But how do the Pym particles fuck him up? Because he's not like inhaling anything, is he? Like,
they didn't describe it exactly, but I mean, I'm assuming it messes with his whole biomolecular organization.
I'm thinking almost like with that aspect. What I got was, remember when we were talking about Cronenberg before, was in like Brundlefly, when he's transported from one to another, even before the fly's introduced and he's just going from one to the other. It's like you're decomposing all your molecules, deconstructing your molecules and then reconstructing your molecules. How do you know it's going to be reconstructed 100% the exact same way? And that's kind of the same
thing
here.
I think his biomolecular organizations
between deconstruction and reconstruction.
Well, what you're saying makes sense, but I remember some point in the movie where Pym was saying, I invented a way to shrink the space between atoms.
Yeah.
So if that's all he's doing, then there's no deconstruction of a molecule at all.
Well, the space between atoms is the charge itself.
Yeah.
Like the valence and strength of the atom depends on which orbit it's in. The space is everything.
Yeah.
So the structure of it.
Exactly, because you're looking at...
So if that space is shrinking, then that counts as a deconstruction?
Right, because then you're talking about... But either way, it's irrelevant because then Scotty jumps into the quantum realm of subatomic.
Yeah.
And he's fine.
So that's what I wanted to get back to. We'll talk. Did you want to jump in here?
No,
something?
Yeah.
So the quantum realm, which I think is the microverse in the comics, right? So some people are saying that they've seen that there's someone there in the quantum realm with them, that you can see something.
Probably the wife, right? They're trying to build
either the wife, or they were talking about someone from the Doctor Strange comic. So what I'm getting at is, the rumor is that quantum realm will be like the backbone of giving legitimacy to Doctor Strange's powers, rather than just be random mysticism.
Oh,
it'll be like something like that. So that's why that might be a connective.
That would be interesting. And I think they did it for quite a while. Mm-hmm. They did a very interesting job of taking you to the quantum level. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The way they showed
very Kubrick.
They showed a lot of stuff that a lot of imagery that was, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was from imagery from electron microscopes.
Oh, okay.
That's some of the imagery that they were showing was kind of revamped and colored imagery from electron microscopes. Yeah. All kind of whirling in and
so going through like a prism almost.
Right. And then what was interesting was they showed all the crystalline structure, but then it just got a little weird. They're trying to show weird dimensionality. What they probably should have done there was just try just vibrating rings of force, because that's what it's supposed to be at that level. But it was an interesting concept, much better than what was that movie where they go into the fourth dimension? What was that? It was a very recent movie. It was behind a bookcase. He's looking behind a bookcase.
Interstellar?
A way better rendition of the fourth dimension.
Oh, you didn't like that?
I think what they're trying to do, if they did see an image of somebody else, is either Dormammu for Doctor Strange, or Annihilus, and that super microscopic world is I forget, negative zone that Pym creates, where he takes prisoners. And he has a prison where he actually takes supervillains and whatnot. So I don't know.
Which is pretty much where Yellow Jacket's probably tapped into, right? Yeah. I think a real important thing to touch on, and the long running, as good as the Marvel movies have been, the one downfall has always kind of been the villains, right? The villains have been kind of weak, right? Loki was great. I really liked Ultron. I thought it wasn't a Joker
for Ultron, but it was menacing in a way.
I was expecting to be more menacing, but that's kind of, we did get more of the comedic kind of sarcastic side. Yeah. But everything else, Obadiah Stane, whatever. Red Skull was good, right? But they were always just... Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, I think has to be, at least for me, just the weakest. Absolutely, just every villain trope that he gets, he just walks right through it. He was. They even have him killing lambs. He was right. He's killing lambs.
Watered down Ironmonger.
easily watered down. Yeah.
And
they tried to give the backstory of him being, like a Hank Pym protege, and then he was kind of, and then he had some pseudo relationship with Hope Van Dyne, and she kind of turns on him, and then they try to use the trope of the Pym particles, kind of making him go mad and crazy, even though, like, did he ever actually?
It's so vague though.
It's very vague. Right? Like I saw him trying to shrink. He was turning people into goo.
Yeah. Just like, but it was very inexplicably. He just went, well, later. I'm like, was that necessary? Like, what would that not call suspicion? And it just,
people disappear without no ramifications.
I don't know where he went.
I just saw him go to the bathroom. He came out.
Like, very strategic. And then all of a sudden now you have this great, technology. You've cracked the Pym particle code to shrink and everything. And then now you're just Hydra and terrorists, come on in. The fuck?
It was very plot convenient.
Yeah.
It's like,
definitely.
I am now showing myself for you that I am evil.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will kill these lambs. Only an evil villain would kill the lambs.
But I thought we used rats, but I am evil.
Exactly. And the same people stole Shmi Skywalker, and he turned bad. You know what I mean? Like like, come on. Like,
it was not a lot of thought put into it.
And
really rushed.
Yeah, and it's not like he's a bad actor, because in The Strain, he's the doctor in The Strain. He does a good job there.
Or in House of Cards, wasn't he?
Yeah, first season of House of Cards.
He was great in the first season of House of Cards.
He was a terrible Yellow Jacket.
Yeah,
terrible.
I just think that
just as a villain, he just didn't do it. He just didn't.
No.
Maybe he was also set up for failure pretty much as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was not very convincing.
Yeah. If the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and Phase 2 is like a series, this is just one of those filler episodes just to help get you to
I think
the second part, because this movie exists so that, like you said, we can see giant men fighting in the Infinity War,
which is why he shouldn't have been a movie. Ant-Man should have just been a flashback in Avengers.
Yeah,
a flashback
exactly.
of all this, just like those old shots of Hank Pym.
Exactly.
That's all we needed, some flashback, and then we understand him enough that he can then become giant man.
Exactly.
But why don't we? So, what are some things that just some things? Maybe we list some things that you just found infuriating or ridiculous. Just for you personally, each of us.
Okay.
For the movie.
For me, the one thing, and again, so many movies are culprits of this, but like, they can learn martial arts and how to fight in 20 minutes. Like, I'm sorry, I've been a blue belt for 4 years. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Like, these people just automatically learn how to fight. They learn how, you see things like Batman Begins. Like, he goes off and he learns how to fight. He's gone for years, and even then, 8 years or whatever the time he's gone isn't enough for him to learn all that. But it's still, it's at least it's a step in the right direction. Like, where is he learning how to fight and to punch? And he is he's 140 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not going to happen in that little time.
Pulls off a leaping leg lock harakarana.
Exactly.
Doesn't he pull off some weird shit with Falcon?
Harakarana. Yeah, leaps up to his face as harakarana.
It's like that stuff. Just you can't learn that in a half an hour, because then that's where you get people coming into your martial arts dojo the next day and going, taking their 3 free classes and then going and getting a fight on the weekend at the bar.
And then because they fight UFC.
As they fight UFC. Exactly. And it happens all the time, because these people really think that 3 hours of martial arts training will make them lethal. It's not going to happen, people. It's not going to happen. So just think that there's a little more time involved.
Back to, and this movie really does resemble Iron Man 1 to me, a lot, right? It's almost as scratch out names here and put in different character names. But at least in Iron Man 1, they had that montage of Tony Stark perfecting the tech, but it felt more drawn out, right? It felt more kind of legitimate, slowly, and even kind of
drawn out. It felt good. It wasn't the drawn out. Negative. I think it's more.
Right,
it's
drawn out's
understandable.
the wrong word.
Yeah,
It's
it's
realistically
relatable.
paced.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the wrong thing.
This
yeah.
one is again another
like,
plot
okay.
convenience.
Yeah,
thing.
there you go.
So what were your negatives for this movie?
Go to me last.
Yeah.
Last, okay, Simonetto.
The keychain. I'm like, this keychain is
Oh,
gonna be a damn tank. It's a real tank.
Yeah.
But if we're going by
immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. That's a fucking real tank. Easy to use that. Yeah.
But okay, I don't get Ant-Man's power. So if he can use the force of like if he's 160 something pounds, if it's a tank, is it gonna be the same weight or is it gonna be?
Oh, you mean when it's a keychain?
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah, well, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
If the density of it creates a greater power, it would imply that like a neutron star,
Yeah.
its density would be great. So you'd be like, this is an impossible to lift keychain. That's
Especially if the molecules in are just being
right.
Space
That's
is
what I'm
being
saying.
shrunk,
It would be like a neutron star,
Right,
a collapsed star, right? Like
it's a good point.
that is a great observation. You
throw it at
would
people.
not be able to. No, you couldn't throw it. It would be Thor's hammer. You'd be like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, Mr. Pym, you're trying to sneak something in here.
You are not the king. You are not the king. Like, it's not gonna happen.
We're gonna get so many.
No,
that's not how it works.
Exactly.
Mom, more Ovaltine, please. This is ridiculous, and I can't.
We welcome all comments and sharing.
Please.
As long as you interact. Okay, I got one.
Oh, I thought you were going to go last.
Oh, who's next? You?
No, I've said my
Sorry,
piece.
I'll go last.
Okay, so for me, as I described, the ants flying around and being able to do all these things, that is, okay, so in so many different instances, the ants are doing things that ants can't. Even if they were that collectively organized.
Yep.
They're just doing things that physically ants can't. Like, helicopters make people shudder under their ferocity. You have to duck and you have to hold your hat and whatever. There's no way a legion of ants, which only have wings when they're initially mating, by the way, and they all lose their wings after that. But anyways, so they're flying up. They would have been scattered. Going through areas of electricity, like they're susceptible to electric current. They lose their function. Their antennae stop working. Their sensitivity, all that kind of thing. Here's another thing. They did a very marginal job of explaining why it is he can communicate with ants, specifically ants, and not like, is he Aquaman too? Can he communicate with whales and fish?
Yeah.
What is it about ants exactly? Number one. Number two, no matter if he can, even if he can connect to an ant, he is a human being with a human mind. He does not have a collective intelligence. He cannot communicate with a million ants at the same time.
Yeah.
He can't do it. He just doesn't have the mental. He's a human being, as far as I can tell. His changes in size do not create any kind of neural networks that were
enhanced.
He
Yeah.
cannot communicate with. He can communicate if he's going to be able to communicate with ants with a modified hearing aid.
Yeah.
Maybe with 1, 2, perhaps. Maybe 3. Not a million.
Yeah.
Can't do it. They're not all following his instructions. So it was just a little.
Or they would move exactly in conjunction with each other. If you did, right, they wouldn't be able to independently move.
Right, but how do you even connect with all of them at the same time with your brain? It's like, how do I talk to you and to Sims and to Dan at the same time with different voices? I'm a human being. I can only process with certain thoughts at a time, right? So that would have been mine. That would have been like obviously it's a work of fiction, people. I understand this. We all understand this. But fiction has rules too.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, fiction has rules that it creates for itself, what it sets up for itself.
And especially, in Phase 2 was such a really good job of Marvel laying down a certain type of believability. You only had to suspend disbelief for only so much. They didn't take kind of little cheats.
Yeah.
And here there was a lot of cheats kind of taken here and there.
Yeah.
All right, so mine is like that overused trope of the hero to be having the most ideal combination of skills for the job.
Yeah.
Which you could say, okay, he has the skills that Hank Pym wants, so he's.
Yeah.
But come on, all the parkour. Like he's a parkour master. A masterful cat burglar and
MacGyver.
electrical engineer.
Apparently MacGyver too.
Right? All three. Like, well, that's
He found random household items in a home that was not his. and put together a liquid nitrogen bomb of some kind of device to destroy the intersafe.
It was on
That's
YouTube.
great, yeah. Like you're.
I'll open this drawer because I know the tape's in here. I'll open this drawer because I know a random ring is going to be in there. I'll open this drawer and this drawer and this drawer. And I might as well just build a spacecraft to just fly and shoot
Like,
away.
it's a bit of a stretch. Like I can understand an athletic cat burglar, right? Okay, that's good. You got to make him like. Where did being an electrical engineer help him? Right when he was tinkering with the fucking suit to help it it go giant and change the regulator. Like, that wasn't that important because it was just like, didn't you just put the disc in?
Yeah, it was no big. It was like Hank Pym's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I created the suit and everything, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to get back from the quantum realm.
You realize, Hank, you realize you gave me these discs that'll turn things giant when I throw them. This might fucking work. You didn't have to be an electrical engineer for that. But you just see that, you know the movies that always happens with? Is Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, Prime. I'm an inventor. I'm an inventor. Or in The Happening, the Shyamalan movie. Where
I don't watch those Shyamalan.
These science, guys. Science. Give it a chance. Like, he's a fucking scientist. So.
And my Shyamalan movies are like this. Oh my god, it's amazing. Where's it going? What? The monster is a mentally handicapped person hiding in a hole.
Spoilers. Spoilers for every Shyamalan movie.
This village is isolated in a park in Idaho? What? Exactly. I thought they were remotely Idaho.
You want a tweet?
What? They're dying because Earth is angry?
What? This movie has very little Will Smith and more of fucking Jaden Smith? Oh, man. What's a twist? My recap on Ant-Man is, look, it's stuff you've kind of seen before, some different kind of elements, somewhere in there. And originally Edgar Wright, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Edgar Wright's kind of stuff. He's done like Shaun of the Dead. He's done all those the Cornetto trilogy with Simon Pegg, like At World's End. All those Scott Pilgrim Saves the World. Yeah, real quirky British humor. Loves comics. He had been working on Ant-Man like well before I think since 2005, where he first came with a pitch. Yeah. They want to do this, and Marvel Studios set up, and they were always kind of had in development. And by the time they found, and it was always kind of hanging around. He had gone to Comic-Con like 4 years in a row, like just saying, "Ant-Man's coming. Here's some test footage, things like that." And then finally, once he got time to finally do it, there was a split because he had his story that he wanted to tell, but now it has to fit into this whole big long Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so the things he had to change. It just wasn't going to work. They had to split. You can really kind of see the kind of quirky superhero comedy action movie that he was making, and like the suitcase has to be one, right? And then you can kind of see where Marvel kind of put it up. Well, this has to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. Right? So it's really kind of too bad. But we'll never know.
Out of the movie, cool. Bigwigs. Stay out.
At that point, it's kind of tough, right? Because it does have to fill an episodic section of a much longer story because he has to be there. Anyway, to kind of wrap it all up, it's a good movie. Some original kind of looking effects, some fun action scenes, some fun comedy. It by no means is bad. It's kind of just what if you've seen enough superhero movies and things like that, you'll see it coming. Yeah. It is enjoyable, but you're just kind of watching.
If you're 9, it's even better.
Yeah, exactly. But you're watching it to get through it, and then hope for some big, cool action scenes of him and thing. That's kind of my end thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah, my idea was, if you're a parent and you want to take your kids to it, like Sean was saying earlier, it's better than like something else out there maybe, but I don't know. I was thoroughly just underwhelmed.
Yeah, it's like breakfast. It's like you could have a big full breakfast with eggs and bacon and all kinds of toast and everything. You have a Pop-Tart. It's a Pop-Tart.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
On that Pop-Tart note. Alright guys, thanks for joining us. Episode 1 of Hero Lair. I know the audio is not the best, but we'll improve it. I swear, we're just rank amateurs who want to kind of hang out and talk and do this for you. Like this video, please leave any comments below. Share it. You can follow us on Twitter at the Hero Lair. My name's Dan Philippe. You can follow me at Dan Philippe DF. Beside me, Big Sean Sims.
I'm Sean Sims. You can follow me at Big Sims on Twitter, at Big_Sims, and Instagram Simplicity1 with 2 M's.
My name's Josh Martyr. My website for authorship is joshuamartyr.com.
Mario Amaral. You can follow me at Mario Hammerall, HAMMERALL, and Twitter.
Awesome, guys. So we'll come back with you next week. Some more news, insight, and review of Fantastic Four. See ya.
Later.